Hey everyone, welcome back to part 3 of the top 100 notes. Uh, According to David Bowers and David Sunderman, the 100 greatest American currency notes. We left off on number 81 last time, so we will start this time with number 80. Number 80 on the list, this is an 1882 $1,000 gold certificate. You can see there have been deposited in the Treasury of the United States $1,000 in gold coin. And at the time, we had $20 gold coins that were about an ounce of gold each. So this was good for 50 of those coins. So yeah, this had quite a bit of wealth to it. That is Hamilton there on the front. Taking a peek at the back, you've got the bright gold on the back like this. M, of course, is the Roman numeral for 1,000. And you can see here how, even though this one is just a replica, they still show the red and blue fibers on this particular note. So this one, like I said, is number 80, the 1882 $1,000 gold certificate. There are approximately 22 to 25 of these still out there, and I believe 10 of them were in the National Archives. So there's only about 12 in regular people's hands. They go for pretty close to $250,000. So yeah, number 80, the 1882 $1,000 gold certificate. Number 79 on the list is the May 10th, 1775 $20 continental currency. This is known as the special marbled issue. Now, what makes this so special is that the paper that this note was printed on was acquired by Benjamin Franklin in France. They made this particular denomination. You can see here they made 49,000 ones, they made 49,000 twos, 49,000 fours, and et cetera, et cetera. But when you get to the 20, they only made 11,800, and these were all on the French paper issue. And that you can see the marbling on the note right there. I'm pretty sure that you've got the front and the back on this particular note. So yeah, the $20 note made on French paper, brought back specifically by Benjamin Franklin. That one is number 79 on the list. There are between 300 and 500 of these still known. And in VF, you're talking about $6,000 for one of those. So good luck trying to spot one of those. Even just to see one of these with the marbling like that is really cool. Number 79, the $20 May 10th, 1775 constitutional currency note. Number 78 on the list. This is the 1861 $50 interest-bearing note. It was more of a bond than a note. It wasn't really circulated as cash, and most of these were actually circulated bank to bank. There was very few of these that were out in regular hands. You can see Act of March 2nd, 1861. That is the note right there. I'm just going to flip the page real quick and show you the back of the note right up there on top. Yeah, it was an interest-bearing note. It gained 6% interest over the course of 2 years. I believe it was paid out 6% each year. So that was that particular one. And like I said, most of these were held by banks. There are only 2 that have survived this entire time because most of them have been redeemed. So these are extremely difficult to come by. And as far as prices go, you're talking somewhere around $400,000. But once again, you're talking one of 2 if you happen to find one. Anyway, that is the 1861 $50 interest-bearing note, number 78 on the list. Number 77 on the list. This is the $1 silver certificate from North Africa. This is a World War II emergency note. Similar to the Hawaii notes, the North Africa notes were in circulation during World War II, and instead of having a blue seal like a silver certificate, they put on this yellow seal. And the yellow seal was so that if a huge chunk of these were to fall into enemy hands, with the swipe of a pen, they could make these null and void, and thus making them useless. We use them, like I said, in North Africa and in Europe. And actually, a lot of these survive. Not quite as many as the Hawaii notes, but a lot of these survive. In fact, the book even says many thousands were still out there. So this is probably the first extremely affordable note that made the top 100. Like I said, number 77. You can get a crisp version of this note somewhere in the neighborhood of $225. Generally speaking, the regular condition notes like this, you're probably going to get for under 100 without a problem. So that is number 77, the North Africa Silver Certificate, the $1 silver certificate. Number 76 on the list is the 1928 small-sized $1,000 gold certificate. My replica here is actually a large size, but these came in the standard size that you see in your pocket today. Features Grover Cleveland. The note is very, very similar to the regular $1,000 Federal Reserve note from 1928. The difference is this seal right here. Gold certificate. This certificate is legal tender in the amount thereof in payment of all debts and dues, public and private. Gold certificate with the gold here and the numbers this way. Mine, like I said, is the large size, and they happen to have a gold back, but the actual note had a green back. There were only 2.8 million of these printed, making them much more scarce than the regular $1,000 note. In fact, only about 150 to 300 of these remain, and they'll go for about $35,000. I did see one in Rosemont at the ANA show, and I was afraid to ask what they were wanted for that one. Anyway, this is number 76, the $1,000 small size gold certificate from 1928. Number 75 on the list is another $1,000 gold certificate. This one is from either 1907 or 1922. Either one of those would qualify on the list. Number 75, the $1,000 gold certificate. This is the last large-sized $1,000 gold certificate that was put out there. This one did have the gold inking, as you can see here, and this one did have the gold back. And it's interesting, this particular design with these rays coming out are very similar to the 1923 series of legal tenders. You may be familiar with the poker chip. It used a very similar ray pattern there. Of course, it had a different color, though. This one being gold, the other one's being green-backed. That is number 75 on the list. There is roughly 175 to 225 of these still out there, and they'll go for about 20 grand or so if you can get your fingers on one. That is number 75, the 1907 and 1902 $1,000 large size gold certificate. Number 74 on the list, continuing our run of $1,000 notes. This is the 1918 Federal Reserve note. Federal Reserve note, $1,000 denomination. It's odd because these particular series had a blue seal rather than a green seal. The $1,000 note features Hamilton, so if you knock out the 2 zeros, it looks like a standard 10. The $1,000 note, taking a look at the back, has a really cool picture of the eagle on the back there, and it features a dollar sign behind the $1,000 numerals back here, which is something you don't generally see on our currency. You see it when you write about money, but you don't see the dollar sign actually on a dollar or $1,000. There's between, 200 and 300 of these that are still out there, and they can go for $10,000 to $15,000 if you can find one. That is number 74, the $1,000 Federal Reserve note from 1918. Number 73 on the list. This is the very first $2 silver certificate. Now, there were silver certificates printed earlier than 1886, but they were in denominations of 10 and higher. The first time a $2 note was ever made as a silver certificate was this note right here. I just have the replica. This is General Winfield Scott, if I recall. There's approximately 1,500 to 2,500 of these notes out there. Take a look at the back. It was intentional to do this kind of pattern there because it looks like a 2, and it does mimic the lazy deuce from national banknotes. So people enjoyed seeing a familiar look that way. The 1886 $2 silver certificate. Once again, the very first $2 silver certificate is number 73 on the list. If you can find one in decent shape, you're talking about $2,500 or so without a problem. So that's number 73. Number 72 on the list is the $50 Brownback from 1882. The Brownbacks were part of the second charter period for national banknotes. And you can see right there why they were called Brownbacks. The front depicts Washington, I believe, crossing the Delaware, an image, of course, representing the Revolutionary War. The $50 note uses the same front plate design as the first charter period $50 note. And of course, they did change up the back. On the back, of course, they use this brown ink, and the charter number on each note is also written in gigantic letters on the back. So you can see this particular one, 2693, and if we go here, 2693 for the charter number there. The Brownbacks and many of the nationals feature an eagle on this side representing the U.S., and then this side will feature a vignette from the particular state. This particular one says Youngstown, state of Ohio, so it has the Ohio seal right over there. That is number 72 on the top 100, the $50 Brownback National Bank note from 1882. And finally this week, number 71, this is the 1880 $10 legal tender, also known as the Jackass note. Now, this can be either the 1869 rainbow or the 1880 non-rainbow note. Either one are listed in there because the thing that makes this note so famous, well, it's called the Jackass note. And the reason for that happens to be this eagle here on the bottom. This eagle, as you can see, he's perched and ready to take off. If you were to take this note and rotate it like so, you now have an eyeball, an ear, a white muzzle, a mane. It's a donkey. And of course, in 1880, those would be known as Jackass. So that is the Jackass note featuring the donkey. 1880 legal tender note, the $10 note. Take a quick peek at the back here. That's what the back looks like. Yeah, that one makes number 71. There are approximately 4,200 to 5,000 of these still in circulation. And in really good shape, you're talking about $4,000. This particular one is probably about 1,300 or so. And this one, of course, is the real thing from my collection. So that concludes part 3, numbers 80 through 71. Tune in next week when we do numbers 70 through 61. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.